Theoderic was born in 454 CE, a pivotal year marking the decline of the Western Roman Empire. He was the son of King Theodemir, one of the leaders of the Ostrogoths, a Germanic tribe under Hunnic domination at the time. Theoderic's early years were shaped by his tribe's struggles to find stability in the aftermath of Attila the Hun's death in 453 CE, which fragmented the Hunnic Empire. At the age of 7, Theoderic was sent to Constantinople as part of a treaty between the Ostrogoths and the Eastern Roman Empire. This was a common practice to ensure alliances and instill trust between the parties. During his time in Constantinople, he was exposed to Roman customs, governance, and military tactics, gaining insights that would later influence his leadership style. While it is unlikely he received a formal Roman education, Theoderic developed a deep understanding of Roman political and cultural systems. Political insight. The experience helped him grasp the complexities of Roman imperial politics and diplomacy, preparing him for his future role as a mediator between Gothic and Roman worlds. Theoderic returned to his people around 469 CE as a young man with valuable knowledge and experience. By this time, the Ostrogoths had settled in the Balkans under Byzantine patronage but lived in harsh conditions and were frequently involved in regional conflicts. Emergence as a leader, Theoderic quickly rose to prominence due to his charisma, physical prowess, and strategic acumen. Political ambitions. He began assisting his father, King Theodemir, in managing the tribe's affairs and in negotiations with the Byzantine Empire, laying the groundwork for his eventual leadership. This period of Theoderic's life was foundational, shaping him into a figure who could navigate both Gothic tribal politics and Roman imperial structures. It was during these formative years that he developed the skills and vision necessary to unite and lead a kingdom blending Gothic and Roman traditions. In 475 CE, Theoderic succeeded his father, Theodemir, as king of the Ostrogoths. His rise to leadership came during a turbulent time when the Ostrogoths were navigating their relationship with the Eastern Roman Empire while striving for autonomy. Theoderic quickly demonstrated his abilities as a military leader and diplomat. He led his people in a series of campaigns across the Balkans, asserting their presence and pressuring the Byzantine Emperor Zeno for favorable terms. Theoderic became both an ally and a challenge to Zeno, oscillating between cooperation and rebellion. In this period, he marched into the Balkans, threatening Constantinople and compelling Zeno to grant him new settlements in Macedonia. His power grew as he established himself as a key figure in imperial politics. Zeno eventually sought to contain Theoderic by naming him Magister Militum, Master of Soldiers, and later consul in 484 CE, making him the first barbarian to hold this prestigious Roman title. Despite these honors, Theoderic remained restless. His ambitions and the needs of his people for stable lands led to ongoing tensions with the empire. By 488 CE, Zeno proposed a solution that aligned Theoderic's ambitions with Byzantine interests. He commissioned Theoderic to depose Odoacer, who had taken control of Italy after the fall of the Western Roman Empire. This arrangement marked the next significant chapter in Theoderic's life, setting him on the path to becoming the ruler of Italy. In 488 CE, Theoderic led his Ostrogothic forces into Italy at the behest of the Byzantine Emperor Zeno, tasked with overthrowing Odoacer, who had ruled Italy since the fall of the Western Roman Empire in 476 CE. This campaign was both a military conquest and a strategic migration, as Theoderic sought to secure a homeland for his people. His army, including warriors, families, and dependents, journeyed across the Alps and into northern Italy. The campaign was marked by a series of decisive battles. In 489 CE, Theoderic achieved a major victory over Odoacer at the Battle of Isonzo, followed by another triumph at Verona. These victories allowed Theoderic to establish control over much of northern Italy. Odoacer retreated to Ravenna, his capital, which was heavily fortified and resistant to direct assault. The siege of Ravenna lasted 3 years, during which both sides endured hardships. Theoderic received reinforcements and maintained pressure on Odoacer, eventually forcing him to negotiate. In 493 CE, a treaty was arranged in which both leaders agreed to jointly rule Italy. However, during a banquet meant to celebrate their agreement, Theoderic assassinated Odoacer, reportedly with his own hand. This act consolidated Theoderic's control over Italy and marked the beginning of his reign as its undisputed ruler. The conquest of Italy showcased Theoderic's military prowess and political acumen. By uniting the Ostrogoths and establishing dominion over a region rich in Roman heritage, he laid the foundation for the Ostrogothic kingdom, a realm that would blend Gothic and Roman traditions under his leadership. Theoderic's reign as King of Italy began in 493 CE following his victory over Odoacer. Establishing Ravenna as his capital, he ruled a kingdom that sought to bridge the cultural divide between his Ostrogothic people and the Roman population. Theoderic presented himself not only as a Gothic king but also as a legitimate successor to the Roman tradition, preserving much of the administrative structure and legal systems of the former empire. His governance was marked by a dual approach. Theoderic allowed the Goths to retain their distinct identity, including their Arian Christian faith, while respecting the Roman Catholic traditions of his subjects. He appointed Romans to key administrative positions, ensuring continuity and stability. This policy of cultural and religious tolerance contributed to a period of relative peace and prosperity. Theoderic invested in the restoration of Roman infrastructure, repairing aqueducts, roads, and buildings that had suffered neglect during previous decades. He fostered economic recovery, promoting trade and agriculture, which revitalized the Italian economy. His court in Ravenna became a center of culture and learning, attracting philosophers, poets, and artists. However, tensions between the Gothic elite and the Roman aristocracy gradually increased. Theoderic faced challenges maintaining this delicate balance, particularly as the Byzantine Empire, under Emperor Justin I, adopted a more hostile stance toward Arian Christians. In his later years, Theoderic's rule grew more repressive. He ordered the execution of Boethius and Symmachus, prominent Roman senators accused of conspiracy, which tarnished his legacy among Roman historians. Despite these challenges, Theoderic's reign represented a rare moment of stability in the early medieval period, blending Gothic and Roman elements in a kingdom that served as a model of coexistence for its time. His death in 526 CE left a power vacuum that his successors struggled to fill, leading to the eventual collapse of the Ostrogothic kingdom. The final years of Theoderic's reign were marked by growing tensions and challenges that undermined the stability he had worked to establish. Relations with the Byzantine Empire deteriorated as Emperor Justin I, a staunch Catholic, pursued policies hostile to Arian Christians. This shift exacerbated the religious divide within Theoderic's realm, where the Gothic elite adhered to Arianism while the majority Roman population followed Catholicism. Theoderic's fears of betrayal and internal dissent intensified during this period. His concerns were fueled by reports of communication between leading Roman senators and the Byzantine court, which he interpreted as conspiracies against his rule. In response, Theoderic adopted increasingly authoritarian measures. This culminated in the arrest and execution of Boethius, a renowned philosopher and statesman, on charges of treason, followed by the execution of Symmachus, Boethius's father-in-law. These actions alienated the Roman aristocracy and tarnished Theoderic's reputation as a just and pragmatic ruler. Meanwhile, Theoderic's health began to decline, and his ability to manage the delicate balance between Goths and Romans weakened. His efforts to secure the succession of his grandson, Athalaric, were complicated by growing unrest and factionalism within the Ostrogothic court. By the time of his death in 526 CE, the foundations of his kingdom were already showing signs of strain, setting the stage for the conflicts and invasions that would follow. Theoderic's final years stand in stark contrast to the earlier stability of his reign, as his legacy of unity and tolerance gave way to mistrust and division. While his achievements as a ruler remain significant, the challenges of his last years highlight the fragility of the Ostrogothic kingdom in an era of shifting political and religious dynamics. Theoderic the Great died in 526 CE, leaving behind a kingdom that embodied both the strengths and vulnerabilities of his vision for a unified Gothic Roman realm. His death marked the end of an era of relative stability in Italy and the beginning of a period of political uncertainty. Theoderic's successor, his young grandson Athalaric, inherited the throne under the regency of Theoderic's daughter, Amalasuntha. However, internal divisions among the Ostrogoths and mounting external pressure from the Byzantine Empire soon destabilized the kingdom. Theoderic's legacy is multifaceted. He is remembered as a ruler who sought to preserve Roman culture and governance while integrating the Gothic people into Italy. His reign saw the restoration of infrastructure, the promotion of economic prosperity, and a remarkable period of cultural exchange. Despite his Arian faith, Theoderic's policies of religious tolerance, though strained in his later years, stand out as an attempt to reconcile deeply divided communities. However, his authoritarian actions in his final years, particularly the executions of Boethius and Symmachus, left a lasting stain on his reputation among Roman historians. These actions contributed to his portrayal in later writings as both a tyrant and a tragic figure caught in the tensions of his time. After Theoderic's death, the Ostrogothic kingdom quickly unraveled. The Byzantine Emperor Justinian I launched a campaign to reclaim Italy in 535 CE, leading to the protracted Gothic War, which devastated the region and ultimately ended Gothic rule in Italy by 554 CE. Despite this, Theoderic's efforts to preserve Roman traditions during a time of transition left an enduring mark, with later generations often viewing him as a model of a barbarian king who successfully merged two distinct worlds.